Most people think of Minecraft as an innocent game people play for fun, so when many of Minecraft's largest creators, such as Dream, georgenotfound, and wilbur had horrifying allegations come out against them, everyone was shocked, raising the questions: what could a bunch of Minecraft YouTubers have done? Does Minecraft tie them together? And how did they get exposed? My name is Ducky, and today we'll be exploring into Minecraft's top creators and their dark history with allegations, starting with one of Minecraft's most disturbing and awful people, involving a YouTuber who, at the time of being exposed, had over 800,000 subscribers on his channel. Marcus Wilton, or Lionmaker Studios, as we'll call him from now on, was a Minecraft YouTuber who garnered over 800,000 subscribers in the early 2010s through creating a variety of Minecraft videos.
Hey guys, Lionmaker here from Lionmaker Studios.
Lionmaker was also a close friend to one of Minecraft's titans, Stampy Longhead and iBallistic Squid, appearing in multiple videos with the pair.
Hello, this is Stampy, and welcome to a Minecraft Let's Play video. This is part number 5 of Squid and my tour of Lion Cub Park. Yay!
However, on the 19th of September 2015, Lionmaker's empire began to crumble down, as the first of many deplorable allegations would be levied against the once respected YouTuber. Drummer Alert would post a video entitled "Angry Mother, Lionmaker Asks Minecraft Kid for #Drummer Alert."
Today on Drum Alert, we have a angry mother whose child had a very inappropriate interaction with a known YouTuber known as Lionmaker, a Minecraft YouTuber that's 27 years old.
In which it would be revealed with screenshot proof that Lionmaker's account had asked a 12-year-old girl for. However, Lion, in later correspondence, completely denied it, instead making the outlandish claim that his account was hacked while showing no proof. But to say this was the most deplorable or terrible of the actions committed by Lionmaker would be a gross understatement. Just a few months later, on the 25th of December 2015, another Drama Alert video would surface, levying some serious accusations made against Lionmaker, except this time, it was a screenshot of him offering and paying money in exchange for the of a 15-year-old boy.
A 16-year-old boy known as Steven Chiniques came out with a video titled "My Crazy Experience with Lionmaker Studios with Proof." In this 45-minute video, Steven explains that he has been friends with Lionmaker since he's been 14 years of age. And when he was 15, Lionmaker started linking him a lot of on Skype, and then asked him for and offered to pay him $500. And when Steven was like, "Really?" Lionmaker sent him the $500. In this video, he proved it by calling PayPal and recording it and having the rep over at PayPal read out the transaction. Here's a clip of that video.
The weirdest shit happens, and I told all my friends about this one. I've let all my friends know about this. You could, like, you know, I told him the same day it happened. He's like, "Oh, hey, I'll send you some money on PayPal if you send me some." I was like, what the f***? $50. Lionmaker Studios. Yep.
Refunded in June the 12th.
However, what if I told you this was only the tip of the iceberg, that Lionmaker's wrongdoing extended far beyond even this behavior? There is proof of him dating a 15-year-old girl at 30 years old, demanding sexual images of her for his own gratification, along with a guilty court verdict, leading to the permanent termination of his YouTube channel. But let's discuss the final nail in Lionmaker's metaphorical coffin with the next creator who was once the second most subscribed gaming channel on the platform behind PewDiePie. They rapidly rose to popularity through releasing a variety of Minecraft mod showcase videos.
Hey guys, Sky here from the Minecraft mod showcase, and today I am doing the Mutant Zombies mod.
But this wasn't all. Skydoesminecraft, or as I'll refer to him from now on, Sky, also created an insurmountable volume of minigame content with other incredibly popular YouTubers at the time in a group named Team Crafted.
I'm here with Agent Canadian, who's by himself as well.
Yeah. Let me appease you.
Oh, thank you. He's so kind. You can have that back. There you go. And we are also here with Seth Sunday, Noah Craft, and Jerome. Guys, you're supposed to be together. Why are you? Okay.
Well, he called me fat.
However, what really caused Sky's channel to pass 11 million subscribers was his Minecraft music video parodies, with one particular video even amassing a whopping 90 million views on its own, along with various others well into the 8-figure view counts. Given that Sky's channel was in such a great position, what went wrong? While his statistics decreased with the natural decline of Minecraft, it would be the serious and damning allegations that surfaced which would ultimately destroy his career, reputation, and even life. On January 23rd, 2022, a harrowing account surfaced, divulging the tumultuous relationship between Sky and his ex-wife, Elizabeth. Unraveled over several months, within the document she shared, Elizabeth contained details on a series of disturbing behaviors exhibited by skydoesminecraft, including claims of manipulation, coercion, and abuse. Dear Adam Dahlberg, aka @NetNobody, I'm going to do the best to be the voice you have taken away from so many. You hurt, you abuse, you manipulate, and you lie. You are a sick man. I spent months and months loving you with my whole entire being. I spent thousands of dollars just to come live with you. You made promises you didn't want to keep, but promises you made to manipulate my life so you could be in control. You use your fame, your name, and your platform to hide the disgusting and disgraceful things that you so claim not to do. You not only verbally and degraded me, the mother of your second child, you me. You put me through things no one should ever have to experience. You hurt me for too long, and I am tired of feeling afraid of you and what speaking up may bring. I had to tell people you were because whenever I said you were, you would harass me and say horrible, horrible things. You were so unkind. I do not wish for anybody to have mental health struggles, nor do I wish for somebody, even you, to have such severe struggles. Sky allegedly concealed Elizabeth's identity, insisting on secrecy to purportedly safeguard their relationship, and coercively pressured her into pregnancy against her wishes. Reports further suggest a pattern of dishonesty, with Sky allegedly engaging in clandestine communications, advocating for a polyamorous relationship, and engaging in infidelity, even with an AI Twitter account. Throughout our relationship, you were always on your phone, always hiding messages, having separate texting apps, and deleting conversations. You tried to pressure me into letting you be poly with your friend, and degraded me when I told you it's not my thing, and I'm not comfortable with that. You just like cheating, you like feeling better than everyone else, and you want people to do whatever you say. You not only cheated on me, you did several times before I even moved in with you. I found all the conversations, all the emails, everything that showed I was just a trophy to you, just an object on the shelf. You made me propose to you. I kept telling you it was too soon. I kept saying I wasn't ready. You would reply with, "You're literally pregnant," as if you didn't care how I told you I wasn't ready for that either. You continuously pushed it. I kept saying I'm not ready. You even tried convincing me to let you buy my unborn baby. You said word for word, "If you don't want her, I'll just give you like 100 grand or something." You act like your kids are just objects. You haven't had that kind of money in years. You kept pushing and even made me order rings and made me sit down and engage myself to you. I was heartbroken and my dreams of marriage were beyond crushed. You made the announcement on Twitter that you said yes. You didn't mention how it was forced. Why didn't I leave? Why didn't I run as fast as I could? Because I was scared. You treated me and everybody as peasants and would use your popularity against us. Financial exploitation also allegedly occurred, with accusations of Sky misappropriating funds for drug purchases, leaving Elizabeth burdened with financial liabilities. Additionally, Elizabeth recounted instances of emotional manipulation, neglect, and physical harm inflicted by Sky, including substance abuse, endangerment of their unborn child, and violent outbursts. You stole money from companies just to buy drugs and never do the work. I had to pull thousands of dollars I needed for food and bills out of my ass just to pay back those individuals and pay bills with what I was left. They were so kind about it. I was so scared. I wanted so badly to slip them a note saying I'm afraid. I felt so numb. I was ready to take myself to the hospital just so I could sleep in a clean bed and have safe people around me. I was giving the baby every ounce of energy I could when I barely had any. Sleep deprivation is so dangerous and you didn't care, even at your stable moments. I would beg and cry just to be left alone. I was so tired. I just wanted you better, but I was falling apart. I knew for a while I wanted to leave. I just never knew how. I would try to talk to you about your actions calmly, and I would give ultimatums and you'd treat me horribly. I kept in touch with some friends close by and also friends in other states, so some people were in the loop and I had some people to talk to. I constantly feel dumb and tell myself I deserve it all for not walking away sooner. I blame myself when I shouldn't. The situation escalated to alarming levels, with Sky allegedly exhibiting erratic and destructive behavior, prompting intervention from authorities. Elizabeth's distressing ordeal extended to threats of violence, manipulation, and financial ruin, culminating in her reaching out to law enforcement for assistance. You would constantly bitch at me for doing things you ask me to do. You love eggs with cheese and you love pasta, so one night I was excited. I made you eggs with some delicious pasta. I handed it to you and you threw it on the table saying, "Why the f would you make that?" I replied with, "You love that food," and you said, "It doesn't f***ing go together, so thanks. Now I just won't eat," and proceeded to throw a tiny tantrum, which I went and sat in the shower and cried for what felt like hours. You would always say, "I pay for everything," when I never would ask you to. I kept offering to help. You wanted to own me and kept making fake promises. You just wanted to be in control of my life. You would have me get ready for date nights, bitch about being too tired, then you'd invite your friends over. I was constantly asking you to spend time with me. I would be so stoked to go baby shopping and you wanted nothing to do with it. You were so careless, yet stayed preaching to your fans about how great of a father you were and how excited you were. You even made me do all the birthday and Christmas shopping for your son just for you to take all the credit for it. You bitched at me for not being able to move a washing machine that weighed 200 to 300 pounds. I was pregnant. I thought I broke our new washing machine. I asked you for help and you threw a tantrum, started calling me stupid, saying I can't do anything right. It was never broken. It just needed a reset. I felt numb and sat on the floor. I wanted to end my life because all you made me feel was that you're not enough, you can't do anything right. I was never allowed to stand up for myself. If I had an anxiety attack, you would call me a baby and degrade me. Yet when you would get emotional, you expect everyone to bow down to your feet and feed you love and support on a gold platter. Even when mentally stable, you knew how to help yourself. You knew abusing drugs could make you go into permanent psychosis. You abused drugs. You pressured our friends into doing drugs and would degrade them if they didn't want to. So many people spent so much money and time helping you when you needed help, yet you treated everyone so poorly when you didn't get what you want. I would ask you to not smoke near me or in the house to keep the baby safe, and you'd bitch at me saying it's your house. I should have left. You made me take care of your child. Elisa, your mum and I did everything. I admire the amount of amazing things that Elisa did. She works her ass off to give her son a beautiful life, and she does a fantastic job at doing so, and you made the internet hate her, yet you hid that you were the main problem. You used your platform to try and ruin Elisa's life, yet you chose to leave out the things you caused. You would make me or your mother bring your child back and forth from visits. You'd sit in our room and make us feed and play with your child. I spent more time with that sweet boy in 3 months than you did in a whole year. You only post father pics when convenient for you, just to make people think you're involved. You spread disgusting lies behind her back. You'd sit on your phone and go smoke and bitch at everyone else to take care of your son. Along with Sky's ex-wife's allegations, many members of Adam's friend circle, Team Grafted, and most notably workers at his company, Sky Media, spoke out, citing horrific experiences working for him. Working at Sky Media was the darkest period in my life that I've ever and probably will ever have. Eventually, the constant gaslighting and torture led me to nearly kill myself, but I decided to take the situation into my own hands and move as far away as I could. Since then, it has been a years-long battle of trying to rebuild my self-worth, and I'm not sure if I'll ever be back to 100%, but I'll keep trying. In the mornings, it was my job to wake him up and drive him to work like a child. Max and Ross gave up everything to move out to Washington to pursue their dream that Adam promised to help with. He and his crooked managers chewed them out and spat them out, used them, then tried to take their channels away. While the response of Sky was little more than a mentally unstable and incoherent breakdown.
I'm sure you get this kind of shit a lot. I feel like they just want the exposure.
Right.
Like, I don't fucking want to give it to them. So bet.
So
You know?
what's we've seen some changes. About 6 months ago, you were going through a really hard time. You had to go in rehab because you had like an eating disorder. The stress of, you know, your personal life and the YouTube life got to you so much that you were, you know, having a breakdown. What happened with
Team,
that?
I figured out the solution, dude. Minecraft just makes me puke.
But you have a channel with 14 million subscribers that are there to watch you play Minecraft.
Yeah. It's kind of, see, here's the funny thing is like, I originally started Minecraft back before, and, you know, I apologize to everybody watching this who's from the Minecraft community, before the community became fucking shit. And like the entire community just became about people kind of undercutting each other, fucking each other over for money, stupid crap like that. That just kind of seemed like I didn't want a part of it. And then on top of that, it didn't help that the game that I originally started playing, like I never was censored. I would always say like fucked up shit. Like I made Jelk Squad trending on fucking Twitter. Like I would always say fucked up shit. And when the Minecraft community kind of took that turn where it's like this unspoken rule, like everybody, we need to be all kid friendly and
Liz provided text messages within her document that at the very least proved he wasn't mentally well. Additionally, his drama alert response was no more than a rambling addressal of allegations that made little sense, which raises the questions: is skydoesminecraft innocent, guilty, or neither? There's definitely alarming evidence along with an innumerable level of testimony suggesting his guilt. However, an objective look at the situation only reveals that Sky desperately needs help. The actual allegation could be true, but they also could be false, but ultimately the situation is just a he said she said. However, the same couldn't be said for a childhood friend, ex-worker at Sky Media, and a convicted offender. The next Minecraft YouTuber is a perfect representation of the Minecraft archetype. Who exactly is this horrible human being, and to what extent was he punished for his unforgivable sins? Starlit Jin Zhao, also known as Jinbop or Jinbop Gaming, rose to prominence as an American gaming YouTuber, captivating audiences with his gameplay alongside notable personalities such as skydoesminecraft, House Owner, and That Guy Barney. Initially, Jinbop collaborated with fellow creators in the Sky Media offices, including Adam, Ross, Barney, Tim.tv, and Mythsan, recording videos that entertained and engaged his growing fan base. However, he eventually made the decision to depart from the Sky Media offices to pursue a solo career, making a significant transition in his journey. Jinbop's dedication and talent garnered him a substantial following, reaching the milestone of 100,000 subscribers on June 26th of 2015. In recognition of this event, he expressed gratitude to his supporters through a heartfelt thank you video. The culmination of his success came with the receipt of his 100,000 subscriber YouTube plaque on August 18th of 2015, solidifying his status as a respected figure within the gaming community. Jinbop, known as Jinbop or Jinbop Gaming, faced a shocking turn in their career when allegations of involvement with CP emerged in September 2016. The revelation, brought to light by YouTube news channels like Scarce or Drama Alert, shook the online community. Multiple YouTubers, including YamiXOX, Caveman Films, and skydoesminecraft, weighed in on the situation, expressing their opinions and reactions. Subsequently, Jinbop was sentenced to 7 years in prison, with their release anticipated around the summer of 2023. However, they were granted early release on June 2nd of 2022, citing good behavior during their incarceration, according to the Federal Bureau of Prisons. Despite their past controversies, Jinbop left a mark on the online world with their memorable catchphrases and quirky personality, as evidenced by quotes from their videos. However, their fall from grace serves as a cautionary tale within the YouTube community. However, the accusations surrounding the Minecraft YouTuber we'll discuss next were significantly less concrete. Tobuscus, or Toby Turner, was once an incredibly popular Minecraft YouTuber, boasting a subscriber count over 6 million. However, his career, reputation, and life went downhill at the same time after a series of awful allegations surfaced. Abuse allegations against Tobuscus surfaced in April of 2016, initially brought forward by YouTuber April Fletcher, his ex-girlfriend, who accused him of abuse. She also claimed that Tobuscus had also been involved in use since mid-2013. Before I start, I want to say this is the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. I understand that I am setting myself up to be attacked in more ways than has already been done to me. People may accuse me of lying and may try any tactic to protect him because they don't know who he truly is. I will have to take the heat for being the first person to openly come out about this, though I am not the only person who has experienced the abuse from him. There are so many of us. I know of some, I'm friends with some, and I'm without a doubt sure there are some I don't even know about. It's not my place to tell their stories. I can really only tell mine. Throughout the 5 years of knowing him, I've been mentally and physically abused by Toby Turner. I first met Toby when he was working at E3 in June 2011. I had flown there from Georgia and he was doing a hosting gig. He added me on Facebook, and as I was returning home, eventually my number. We texted almost daily and FaceTimed each other. He kept telling me that I should move there and that he needed a female female host for his new gaming show. So a month after E3, I had bought a new car and packed my stuff for LA. I didn't know at the time, but that would be one of many broken promises, before detailing a horrific if true accusation about Tobuscus' alleged behavior, with 3 main claims being made against him, the first of which being extreme infidelity. I was writing way too many details when I realized that I have way too many things to tell that happened in 5 years, so I'll cut out all the small stuff. I was being cheated on since day one. He would fluctuate between telling me we weren't together to saying we were, and once I started finding the evidence of other women, he would fluctuate between admitting he was cheating, then to saying he told me he didn't want anything serious. Every time I would try and leave, he would tempt me with saying he was ready to come out, about dating me now. He would say he was just worried about what the fans would say to me, and all the hate I would get, but he never cared about that. When he started dating Olga, we were still dating. He told me that they weren't real and it was just a show for subscribers and views. At the beginning, I actually believed that. Then my gut feeling was going off like crazy, and I realized I was just being weak. I stopped seeing him and started seeing someone else. Of course, I kept getting texts that he missed me and that I was the one he wanted. And once I stopped seeing the other guy, we went right back to dating. On and off, just as I now know, was coinciding with Olga and his breakups. Or maybe the breakups were lies. Who really knows? I know this makes me look really dumb, but you have to understand how he makes women feel. The second, horrific emotional abuse. 2013 was when the really started. I'm not going to get into too much detail with that, but this was when the abuse started getting very violent. By this time, I was conditioned to always make sure he was happy, and I had so many panic attacks and anxiety when I was with him because I never wanted to upset him. We were writing most of his parodies and songs together, and then fighting when the high would start to fade. Everything was a bipolar mess. There was an incident where we met up for dinner, his classic line, "wanna eat," and he was on of course. I told him not to park in the 30-minute parking spot, but he was immune to all rules in his mind, so he left it, and our conversation at dinner only turned toxic. But most importantly, within this statement was mentions of various instances of assault. He screams and asks me, "Did you hear what I said, you dumb blonde?" He would always tell me he hated blonde hair, and so I stand up to leave. I'm hysterical and get in my car, and I speed off to drive away, and he jumps out in front of the car, immediately saying I'm sorry. I stop the car and he pulls me into the house, and I'm nothing but a hyperventilating, crying mess, and I'm having a panic attack and shaking when he starts taking off my pants and telling me to be quiet. He sets me down on the end of the bed and starts to have sex with me, crying and mumbling for him to stop, but he keeps just telling me to be quiet. After he's finished, he pulls my pants back on, and I turn to my side and keep crying. I honestly don't remember if he cuddled me after. Maybe he did. Once again, I was psychologically damaged and stuck around. I even dyed my hair brunette to please him. We spent Valentine's Day together. At this point, I knew I had to find a way to get over him. I just didn't know how. He was turned on every time I cried, and he was always mean and kept insulting me. So this was the pattern. Friends tried to intervene, and I actually lost a few because I kept going back to him, and they thought I was weak and an idiot. I was. I finally mustered up the strength and told him we should just be friends. On February 26th of 2013, I came over to help him with something. I'm not sure what. My friend Alyssa was having a party. I wanted to go, and he kept telling me not to leave. I told him I had to go. He was being flirty and cute. I was conditioned to enjoy the tension and the game, but I told him I was going. He asked if I would take a shot with him, just one before I left. I said yes. I know I should have not even said yes and taken a shot before driving, I'm aware. But you have to understand, at this time, were running rampant in this house, and I was so exposed to alcohol abuse that I was just used to it. I said okay and took the shot with him. Instantly, I knew something was wrong. At first, I thought it was vodka. I even asked what vodka it was since it was the worst taste I have ever had. Then I saw his face, and I realized I knew what that bitter taste was. I asked him if he had slipped anything into my drink. I asked a bunch of times and he denied it, but I already knew the answer. I also knew that the people who die from MDMA have always been mixing it with alcohol, that both of those together are a deadly mix, that Toby is an addict, and that the amount of he put in my drink are far more than I will ever be capable of handling. I start crying and telling him he's going to me. Why would he try to hurt me? That he is selfish and I'm going to because of him. That somehow gives him a moment of clarity, or maybe it was just the taking effect. But he admits to putting it in my drink. He tells me it was only just a little bit and it must still have been on the glass when he used it. Then he admits fully to doing it. He starts crying as well and admitting he is a addict and needs to get helped. I am so up at this point that honestly I don't remember what happened. Did we have sex? Did we only talk? I'm not sure. All I know is at some point he has passed out, cuddling me on his beanbag chair, and I'm just staring straight ahead, wide awake with anxiety. Support for Fletcher's claims came from YouTuber Amelia Talon, who uploaded a now deleted video corroborating Fletcher's account. Talon described tobuscus as aggressive and recounted instances of him pressuring women into use and making unwanted advances. With similar claims from the video reading, what she wrote was something I could have written. She confirmed, "He's aggressive. I have seen him grope and tear pants off of women right in front of me. He tried to do it to me. He's tried to push Molly on me so many times. One time, he had Molly on his tongue and kissed me, so I had to take it. I didn't know it, and I don't doubt that he tried to put into her drink." Jacqueline Glenn, another YouTuber, added to the allegations, stating that she had been warned by other women, including Fletcher, about tobuscus behavior. She recounted feeling uncomfortable and pressured in her relationship with tobuscus, ultimately breaking up with him.
So I started dating him, and we had a lot of problems. There were situations where I felt pressured to do things that made me uncomfortable. You know, and I got to a point where I just didn't put up with it anymore. This is so hard to talk about because I feel like, first of all, this is personal. It should not be on the internet, and I feel like forced almost to do this because of things that are being said and how much pressure is being put on me to address it, since it's very public that him and I know each other. But just because I felt pressured to do things that made me kind of uncomfortable does not mean that I was forced to do them. And I feel like that's where a lot of people go wrong in situations. Rather than admit that they did something that maybe they feel ashamed about, they will just blame it on some other factor, like the person pushed me to do it. I'm not gonna do that.
Tobuscus responded to the allegations with a video denying the accusations, stating that he had never acted without consent. The responses from fans were mixed, with some defending Tobuscus and others questioning his credibility due to the lack of evidence.
A person I dated a few years ago has just made some extremely serious, false accusations about me. And I want to be crystal clear. I've never done anything without her consent. I've never tried to trick her into anything. I read her Tumblr post and I was shocked and I was hurt. These allegations are absolutely false. I just wanted to address it. That's all.
Although Tobuscus's accusations were a certified he said she said, there was minimal conclusive evidence and honestly no accurate verdict. However, the next creator who was legally reprimanded for his actions, along with being publicly bashed by news outlets, was evidently very guilty. Alpha Lee Carson, or Lee Bear, was a Minecraft YouTuber with over 800,000 subscribers. However, the reason behind his popularity was none of his own work. But how could this be? Lee was the most known helper in arguably the most notable Minecraft series of the 2010s, Stampy's Lovely World, being featured on a channel with an active audience of millions. It allowed Lee to amass over 800,000 subscribers in a relatively short time frame. However, the audience knew very little about the man behind the bear. Well, until his actions would come to public attention through a damning news article detailing the horrible crimes Lee Bear had committed. On the 7th of August 2015, news outlet The Mirror, based in the United Kingdom, the same country Lee Carson resides in, released an article entitled "Minecraft Pervert Harassed Teenager and Older Woman in Sick Facebook Campaign." In the article, written by journalist Colin Ruthford, a series of disturbing and criminal actions proven to be committed by Alpha Lee would be exposed. A teenage Minecraft expert with 350,000 online fans subjected a girl and an older woman to a campaign of sick abuse, starting with the story of the teenage girl victim who Lee had harassed, stalked, and threatened. His first target was the younger woman whom he snared using a Facebook friend request in the false name of Michael Duffy. When she told him she was disgusted, she received another Facebook message stating, "I know you, and I would do anything to make you scream." However, Lee's correspondence and activities with an older lady's underwear were perhaps the worst of Lee's evil crimes. The court heard that in February 2014, the older woman also received a Facebook friend request from Michael Duffy. A few days later, she began to receive explicit messages. In particular, Carson told her he had removed a pair of red pants, smelling them and being aroused by them, and told her he had secreted them behind a set of drawers. The alarmed woman sent her son to look, and he found the underwear where Carson said it would be. Carson later sent the woman an obscene picture of himself and told her, "I want to give you this." As confirmed by another article, Lee actually pleaded guilty to both charges. Carson, formerly from Gottrey's Road, Irvine, but now living in Bognor, pleaded guilty to 2 charges of engaging a course of conduct causing fear and alarm, reports from the Daily Record. Therefore, it'd be tough to even call these allegations. If Lee was so dead to rights that he was forced to admit guilt, either he felt immense remorse for his wrongdoing, or the evidence is so overwhelmingly serious that he had no better choice but to take a plea deal. Regardless, the actions of Lee are a clear testament to Minecraft YouTubers' capacity for legitimately horrible behavior. But what about the Dream SMP? Who was the first YouTuber or streamer from the infamous server ran by Dream? And how did nearly 40 different underage girls come out about equally horrifying experiences with one content creator? It's time to discuss the streamer so horrible that SunnyV2 labeled him best, Minecraft's dirtiest predator. However, before we dive into the horrible and criminal allegations that Jikishi confirmed to be true, let's establish who he was before being exposed. Demetrius Madsen, known online as Jikishi, gained recognition as an American content creator with a presence on YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. However, his time in the limelight was short-lived, as his career took a drastic turn when allegations surfaced that he had over 40 underage girls. Despite a brief stint on the Dream SMP lasting only 2 days, Jikishi's reputation plummeted rapidly in the wake of the accusations, marking the end of his online endeavors. Additionally, Dream would post a tweet confirming that Jikishi had admitted to the accusations being true in private. And while it's a drag to go through all 40 cases of being by Jikishi, I'm going to give a rundown of what the majority said and his MO. Jikishi was specifically attracted to underage girls because of their age. He would frequently ask for images, make inappropriate comments, and proceed to act in a way which made the girls extremely uncomfortable. Jikishi's actions were infinitely unacceptable, and much is the same for the Dream SMP's second exposed member, who at the point was a well-respected Minecraft streamer, YouTube, and speedrunner, amassing over 600,000 subscribers on YouTube, tens of thousands of active Twitch viewers, and collaborations with Minecraft legends. At one point, Illumina, who we'll refer to from now on as illuminahd, was well and truly on top of the world, before serious, credible, and eventually confirmed to be true allegations of assault and surfaced, leading to his once stellar reputation becoming a shadow of what it once was. On the 22nd of October 2023, Stella Perdite, a streamer and fellow speedrunner, took to Twitter to disclose a harrowing experience of assault that transpired at TwitchCon earlier that year. In a subsequent tweet, she explicitly named Illumina as the individual accused of the assault. Illumina swiftly responded the following day, though the post has since been deleted, asserting that the accusations were unfounded or exaggerated due to Stella's purported mental health issues. He also cited concerns expressed by mutual acquaintances regarding Stella's behavior. Illumina announced a hiatus from content creation amidst the controversy, and on the 27th of November 2023, Stella shared screenshots from Discord conversations revealing a joke made by illuminahd directed towards her, and on November 9th, using a photo from the night of the alleged assault, Illuma eventually addressed the situation on the 15th of December 2023 in an unlisted video on his YouTube channel, acknowledging the severity of events recounted by Stella. He subsequently confirmed his departure from the Minecraft community, deleting all of his social media accounts. However, a later response from illuminahd on March 8th of 2024 continued to address the unfolding events, taking full accountability, responsibility, and admitting guilt. My apology to M. Right after everything first went public, someone close to me said something that really resonated with me, and that was that I should just simply do the right thing. The problem is, I've been confused, stressed, distraught, overall not in a great headspace to figure out what exactly I should do. My first instinct was to get help from others on what I should do, and even though it's clear why I did that, I don't think that was the right thing to do. This will be my apology to M, and I will be using my own words, so I'm sorry if anything is worded poorly. I will also be keeping this post up as I want a response people can easily see without having to do some digging. I think the objective truth is I hurt my closest friend, betrayed her, and everyone around me. In Vegas, I stand by that. I was also intoxicated and could not consent, but that doesn't make what happened right. The issue is I was irresponsible, and M was taken advantage of, regardless of intention or not. The other issue, of course, is how I acted afterwards. I will only give explanations on why I acted in such ways, not excuses. I unfortunately didn't take a minute to understand how M could have felt. It doesn't take a genius to realize that her leaving meant that she is uncomfortable by what happened, and therefore uncomfortable being near me. For whatever reason, I never put myself in her shoes, only selfishly thinking about how I was affected. I am sorry for not being empathetic. My behavior afterwards only got worse, and I'm embarrassed to admit how childish I was afterwards. M knows this, and I'm really sorry for being such an insensitive dick afterwards. Vegas was supposed to be just a fun vacation for the both of us, and I was actively ruining her vacation. I can't say enough how embarrassed and ashamed I still am about what happened. I am sorry. My initial public response, of course, was awful. I was putting the blame on M and ultimately just writing her off as crazy. I felt rushed to make a response, but ultimately it was wrong, and I apologize. I'm also sorry for how bad my video response was. I haven't even watched it since release, nor do I intend to, so I don't remember exactly what I said in it, but my intention was not to blame M for everything. I did attempt to take accountability in it, but clearly I didn't take enough. I apologize for these awful responses. Thanks for reading, illuminahd. And while illuminahd and Jikishi admitted to being terrible people, what if there was a recorded history of false allegations within the Dream SMP? How would it appear if the founder himself was not only accused of terrible things and determined guilty with no trial, all before he exonerated himself with a bombshell response video that changed everything? But before we discuss how Clay, or Dream, as I'll call him from now, faced on serious allegations and not only beat them, but destroyed any claims against his character, it's more than important we discuss who Dream is to truly gauge the gravity of the situation, accusations, and his response. Dream was once a nobody with only 1,000 subscribers, creating Minecraft trap videos back in the 2010s. However, upon making a return into 2019, he would begin to gain traction through trend hopping on the topic of PewDiePie's Minecraft world, specifically creating a series of viral videos surrounding his world. However, this wasn't his true claim. Dream had another series that catapulted him to eventually having over 30 million subscribers, Minecraft Manhunt. But Dream's career was not controversy-free by any stretch of the imagination. Dream was not only accused of faking his Minecraft speedruns, but would later admit to it being true.
Now moving on to one of the most talked about controversies, the cheating scandal. I'm going to be pretty concise with this one because it's been covered a million times and most of you are probably pretty sick of hearing about it, but it's still really important to talk about. It's one of the most frequent reasons people point to as to why not to trust me. I did unintentionally cheat on a speedrun that I officially submitted to the leaderboards in 2020, and the speedrun mods were completely in the right for taking it down. I was using a disallowed mod for about a week on my live streams when a new version of Minecraft came out, and I was unaware that this mod existed. When I was defending myself, I didn't know that I'd been using the mod, and it's a really complicated and lengthy explanation of how it's very reasonable that I didn't know that I had the mod, so I can't go into that here. A lot of people say that it's impossible that I wouldn't have known that I was so lucky, but those people don't realize that it was a little bit of luck over a very long period of time, and not a lot of luck at once. It was actually only uncovered by a cheater themselves, who later got exposed for doing that same thing in the past.
Yes, that's right, Minecravenger, the very same person that first publicly exposed Dream for cheating in his runs, has just been caught cheating himself. and not only cheating once, but cheating multiple world records over a span of more than 2 years.
I was defending myself so confidently publicly because me and a developer had already considered and ruled out the possibility that I could have been using a mod. Carl Jobst, a very well-respected YouTuber that also investigates speedruns, made a video going into all the details. It's over an hour long. If you'd like to watch it to understand how that could happen and all the supporting evidence around it, you can. He is very critical of me in it, but here's his short conclusion that backs up what I'm saying from after his thorough investigation.
In conjunction with all of the evidence I've seen, I believe the essence of what Dream was claiming in his paste bin was probably true. In my opinion, it is definitely more likely that he really didn't know his drop rates and barter rates were modified. Was it intentional? And I do believe that it probably wasn't.
He did a lot of research and interviewed a lot of people to come to that conclusion. He interviewed the mod team, me, developers, and a lot more. He even said something afterwards that applies to a lot of the situations I'm going to talk about today, so I'm going to go ahead and play that clip too.
In one breath, people will complain that Dream is a liar, and then in the next, spout made-up assumptions that couldn't be further from the truth. It seems like everyone is lying everywhere.
I'm still fully responsible for my behavior back then towards the moderators, regardless of my intentions, and I did act like a little baby and caused the majority of the problems myself, so I'm sorry. Regardless of if you believe me or if you think that I'm being dishonest, since this all happened over 3 years ago, a lot has changed since, and I've done my best to move forward and grow as a person. I did my best to make amends with the mods, I apologized privately and publicly for lashing out at them, I donated over $50,000 to the speedrun community through tournaments and personal donations to over 15 different speedrunners. I voluntarily took down all my speedrun times, even ones that had nothing at all to do with the mod or the cheating scandal. I also deleted my original response video, and I haven't speedrun officially since. It's been over 3 years. Now that that's out of the way, I want to clear up some quick misinformation around it. One, it had nothing to do with my manhunt videos or any video or speedrun I have ever posted on my YouTube channel. It was specifically live streamed attempts that I did during a 1 week or so period over 3 years ago. It's a common misconception that the cheating had to do with my YouTube channel, manhunt, or any other videos I've posted. Two, I didn't hire a fake astrophysicist to defend me, which is also commonly said. Knowing nothing about math, but fully believing in my innocence at the time, given the accusation was purely based on math, I used a website for math freelancers and reached out directly to a highly qualified professor that said they'd be willing to help me. They even made one of their conditions before agreeing that no matter what their conclusion was, I had to publish their results. Even if their conclusion was that I was guilty. I agreed to this.
Dream briefly explained the situation, and the expert agreed to help. The expert provided Dream with a few terms, one of them being that Dream post the results no matter the outcome.
Obviously their report ended up getting ripped to shreds, but I had no idea that would be the case. I knew absolutely nothing about math, and I fully believed in my innocence. So when a highly qualified third party was agreeing with me, it made me even more confident and bold. There was many factors as to why the report ended up being bad, partially due to the public pressure and it being rushed, partially due to them not knowing as much about Minecraft as the mod team did, but regardless, I didn't bribe or make up a fake astrophysicist, which is something people frequently say. The speedrun mod team and many other parties independently verified their credentials and the fact that they exist. I also put way more information in the description on this, just for transparency's sake, including proof about the professor, all of my emails to them, and even screenshots of messages that I never provided in the past. I think that's really important to clear up because it's used very, very frequently to say.
However, there were another series of accusations levied against Dream that, to put it lightly, were completely false. The first of which being an accusation that he supported and housed an abuser. The situation was complex. There was a charge of domestic violence on his childhood friend, yet the alleged victim wouldn't say anything about it when questioned, along with his friend telling a very different story to the charges.
The next thing I'm going to talk about is a pretty big one that you might not have heard about, but it's a pretty important one. Manatreed. Now, if you don't know who Manatreed is a content creator that I added to my server, the Dream SMP, a couple years ago. They were anonymous like me, and they had a very short career. There was a thread made about Manatreed saying that they doxed him and that he was an IRL friend of mine, had been charged with domestic violence, and that I was trying to hide it. Manatreed was removed from the SMP by me, all of his accounts were deleted, and I made a statement talking about how I don't support domestic violence, I wasn't aware of any domestic violence, and that due to how complicated the situation was, I decided to remove Manatreed from the SMP. I also strongly alluded to the fact that the doxed information was incorrect. Everything I just said was true, except for the fact that Manatreed was my childhood best friend. I came up with the name Manatreed, I made the accounts, I grew up with him, his grandparents were like my grandparents, he was like family to me. The criticism I get to this day related to this is that I intentionally housed and hid an abuser. Because Manatreed was faceless and anonymous like me, people said that it was planned deliberately in order to hide a domestic violence charge. This is not true. In late 2020, he had a lot of problems. He was struggling with homelessness, had been in multiple recent car accidents. I knew I could help him, so I did. I offered him a place to stay, I paid for his groceries and gas for a while, and eventually I came up with the idea to add him to my server. He was my childhood friend. I trusted him, and he wasn't a risk. I was anonymous, so obviously if I wanted to play games with him, his identity couldn't be known, or it would leak my identity. Whenever the thread first came out saying that Manatreat abused his girlfriend, I responded emotionally, calling people gullible, because I didn't believe that someone I had known for so long and grew up with could do anything like that. And at the time, although no one knew, he lived with me in Sapnap, so it seemed crazy that he could somehow hide it from us. I jumped to the gun and reacted emotionally. Only later did I properly look into everything, and I apologize. After I confronted Manatreat in real life, he claimed that he wasn't an abuser, that he had just had an altercation with another guy, and that his ex-girlfriend got in the middle of it. He claimed that he never hit her, that he had just caught her cheating and was fighting the guy that she was cheating with, that the cops got called, and that he got arrested. This is just what he said. This altercation would have taken place around a year before he moved in with us, and I had no knowledge of it. People thought that domestic violence took place when he lived with us because my address was on a court document of his, but that was far after when he was on probation and had to tell the court where he currently lived. He also lied to us and told us that he was on probation for smoking weed in order to not have us question anything suspicious related to it. Even though he claimed to me that he wasn't abusive to anyone, I couldn't just take him for his word, and so I did research myself. I reached out to his ex-girlfriend and talked to her about it all. She wouldn't really say that much. She said to give Manatreat the best wishes for his future, and that his mistakes were behind her, and that she just wanted to be left alone online. I don't want to push her for information, so because of that, I didn't feel comfortable having Manatreat on the Dream SMP anymore. I didn't have full confidence that he was being honest with me because he had already lied to me, and I was also still faceless and really didn't want to have to dox myself to explain the situation. I decided the best idea would just be to remove him from the server. I had created all of the accounts, so I completely shut them down and removed his access. That meant that there was absolutely no risk that, even if he was lying, he would ever cause future harm because of me. Unfortunately, this wasn't a cut and dry situation. This was one of my childhood best friends that had always treated me with kindness and had lied to me in Sapnap. And unfortunately, due to all of this, I have no contact with him and lost someone that was like family to me. I'll never know the exact truth behind everything. The person that I knew was kind, generous, and compassionate, and I never would have added him to the server if I thought he was anything otherwise. But what I do know is that, other than my initial crude response, I stand by my actions. I think that I navigated a really complex situation the best that I could. I got rid of any risk, supported a victim, made it clear that I didn't support domestic violence, even to the detriment of one of my oldest friendships. I completely understand people that don't know my side of this situation, assuming that this makes me a liar, and that it's obvious that I was covering up wrongdoing. I even had creators that thought this until they talked to me about it. It's not unreasonable at all, and that's why I figured I had to talk about it in this video, even if it is personal and uncomfortable. Before I jump into the most important things I'm going to address, I want to talk about something that's come up a lot due to these allegations, and something that's commonly said to give credibility to me being a bad or weird person. I'm going to play a clip from Moist Critical, who talked about the allegations pretty neutrally, to his credit. But while talking about them, he said this.
Dream's audience has always been on the younger side of things, and yet Dream constantly engages with them in very inappropriate ways, such as like posting thirst traps. He does post thirst traps, even knowing that his fans are children. So when these claims come out, I think a lot of people start to take them at face value because they're like, oh, that sounds like the Dream that I know.
But this wasn't the only serious accusation against Dream, as one allegation of him flirting with an underage fan would surface before quickly being debunked due to there being, in all reality, no evidence.
So yeah, before talking about the next allegation, I just want to address something that I think is pretty important. I see some people say, why respond to fans at all? Or that it doesn't matter what Dream said. The fact that he responded to a fan is creepy. And people saying that are missing a little bit of nuance. First of all, back when I started YouTube in 2019, obviously I had a very small community, even moving into mid-2020 before the Dream SMP. It's very common that when you have a smaller community, you're trying to grow your community. And part of how you do that is by interacting with people and responding and being active. I've always been pretty active in my community, and when I was really small, I used to respond to just about literally everyone that DM'd me.
However, a different girl named Amanda made a much more serious allegation against Dream, accusing him of not only flirting with her whilst underage, but also saying very disgusting, if true, things, with the allegation painting Dream as a dirty child predator.
On September 23rd, 2020, Amanda messaged me from her personal Instagram account, sending a message that was clearly a fan message. She thanked me for saving her life, and I replied to this message. In September of 2020, I was a lot smaller than I am now, so I got a lot less DMs, and I was much more active in like the fan communities and replying to people. And all I replied was, oh, thank you for the kind words. And then I also replied, glad to make you smile, after she followed up with the message. I put a transcript of every Instagram message that I've ever sent her, linked in the description. It might not be every message that she sent me, because there's proof that she deleted Instagram messages to me. An old TikTok of hers has messages from me that wasn't in her post with the accusations when she showed our messages, but my transcript tried to include those and piece it together. But again, it might not be all of them because I don't know what she deleted. I only know what she deleted from the thing she accidentally showed in her old TikTok of the deleted messages. Amanda, on the other hand, how are you doing, Dream? September 25th, the next day I replied, I'm good, thank you. How are you? Amanda, the same day, replied, I'm doing okay, could be better, could be worse, thank you for asking. Amanda replied, how's your kitty doing? I love cats. I replied and said she's doing amazing. September 28th, so 3 days later, Amanda Amanda said, Dream, I need some advice. I'm trying to become a small streamer on Twitch, but not a single person joins my streams. How do I get an audience? October 2nd, so a few days later, I replied and said, try and play with your friends maybe? Post clips to Reddit and stuff. And then she replied and said, okay, thank you, with a heart. The next day she messaged me again and said, Dream, would you ever consider playing Among Us with me? XD. I guess this was during the Among Us craze. We're still in 2020. October 5th, 2020, I replied, maybe, heart. Amanda said, LOL, I'll take the maybe. That would be sick. I didn't reply. This is a month and a little bit later. Amanda said, hi, Dream. And then she sent another message that was deleted after she made the allegations. But we don't know what it was. We only know the last couple characters. And again, we only know it exists because she messed up and included it in an old TikTok of hers. And then I replied and later and said, hi. Amanda said, how are you? November 16th. So that's another few days later. I replied and said, good, good. How about you? She replied and said, I'm pretty good. Thank you. November 30th. So, another 2 weeks later, Amanda said, hi, Dream. I want to actually become a streamer like you and your friends. I'm just so uneducated on what supplies I need. Can you recommend me all the products I need to successfully stream? Like computer, cam, mic, headset, etc.? You have no idea how I would appreciate it. December 5th, 2020. So like a week later, I replied and said, almost everything I have was recommended by Bad Boy Halo. Haha. Amanda replied and she sent another message that she deleted after she made the allegations. That again, we won't know what it was. December 26th, so almost a month later, Amanda sent a video. We don't know what the video was. I don't think it was opened. I don't know though. I didn't reply. January 5th, Amanda said again, hi Dream, I just want to say happy late New Year and Merry Christmas. Congratulations on everything you've accomplished this year. I hope I am fortunate enough one day to be as successful as you. If you could tell me what kind of computer you have, that'd be great. January 16th, so 11 days later, I replied, thank you. Amanda replied, deleted message, and then part of it was, how are you? But obviously I didn't reply. April 13th, so a long time later, Amanda messaged me again and said, hi. I replied, hi. Amanda said, how are you? I said, decent. How are you? She said, I'm all right. Thank you. Then she said, I heard some snippets of the song you're working on and I really like it. You have a really nice singing voice. I replied on April 14th. Thank you.
The allegation had some proof of the two conversing, but not enough to fully confirm anything. Additionally, Dream poked many holes in Amanda's version of the story. Was Dream innocent or guilty though? You'll have to find out.
She said, you're welcome. And then December 26th, that was like a long time later, she messaged me and said, Merry late Christmas, heart. I didn't reply. January 10th, she messaged me and said, hi, my Snapchat was banned and I have no friends. How are you? I replied 2 days later and said, how TF does a Snapchat get banned? Amanda replied and said, I'm pretty sure it's because I posted videos of me smoking, but all my memories from 2014 are gone. So sad. I replied the next day and said, damn. And then she replied that same day and said, yeah, it sucks. How are your holidays? I replied the next day and said, good, good. How about you? And then Amanda replied that same day and said, pretty good. You may be wondering at this point, why are you replying to her? You seem clearly disinterested. You're taking days or weeks to reply, and then when you do reply, it's very dry. Well, Instagram has a really stupid feature that makes it so that once you've replied to someone's DMs once, you can't remove their ability to personally message you, unless you block them. You cannot be following them, you can delete them from your inbox, they can still message you and pop up in your notifications. I'm showing an example on screen of my DM continuing to pop up on my alt account, just to show how it works. Obviously, given I replied to Amanda back in 2020 when I had a much smaller community, she was stuck in my inbox for the rest of time. You can temporarily delete someone from your inbox and it deletes all of your message history to them for you, but they can still message you with now a blank DM history. So at one point, wanting her to stop DMing me, I swiped her out of my inbox multiple times. It's actually completely provable that I did do this. I'm showing a video of my Instagram DMs to Amanda now, where they start in December of 2021, much later than her original DMs. Because you can't delete other people's individual messages and you can only delete entire conversations, this proves 100% that I was trying to delete her ability to message me in 2021. It also shows a problem. The only messages that I can see from Amanda were from December 2021 onward. I had no context or recollection of her original messages to me that made it clear that she was a really big fan. I don't remember everyone that messages me, who they are, where I know them from, so on. She messaged me from her personal Instagram, had no connections to any fan accounts, didn't send me any more fan messages, and she had DM'd me many times talking about content creation and streaming, some of which she deleted. She seemed very normal, friendly, and implied strongly that she was overage. What I thought about her age doesn't matter that much because nothing inappropriate happened, but it does matter to show my mindset because I don't go around befriending underage girls or people that are obsessed with me or my content. To the best of my knowledge, she was neither. Continuing with the transcript, now we get to the very end, which was our first real conversation. This one was about music, which makes sense. It's something I'm really passionate about. At the time, I was working on a song called Trust Issues and some other random music projects, and in the middle of us talking about music, I gave her my Snapchat. I said, add me on Snapchat, and she said, sure thing, just added you. I was sharing music snippets with a bunch of people at the time, and as we were talking about music, I wanted to share them with her. And I'm obviously not going to send snippets of a new song over Instagram. Now, I've pretty much always used Snapchat as one of my main forms of communication. It was actually the first social media I ever got because a friend of mine wanted to start a streak with me, and it's something I started using a lot more when I became faceless on YouTube. Because yeah, stuff is deleted. You don't have to stress over people analyzing or leaking everything you say. And for me, even for something as simple as a picture of my cat, people used to zoom into my cat's eyes to look at the reflection to try and dox me. This was not uncommon at all. So of course I felt much more comfortable using Snapchat during this period, especially with people that I wasn't great friends with, but even with my best friends. Now let's go over her actual claims in detail. Amanda claims that after I added her on Snapchat on January 17th, 2022, that we started sexting. She showed that her birthday, when she would turn 18, is on February 17th, exactly a month later. She claims that we sexted from around the 17th of January, the day I added her on Snapchat, to the 10th of February, and then that it stopped. She said that while she was still underage, we exchanged nudes. Her evidence of this was 2 photos of supposedly me from after she was 18 complimenting her. Her final important claim was that she traveled to Orlando in August and that we planned to meet up and have sex. And I just want to make sure that I blatantly deny this before continuing. None of this is true. And now I'm going into more detail. Now, unfortunately, because she didn't provide any proof of these things, it's difficult to be specific about some of the things she claimed. It's much easier to completely make up that something happened than it is to prove that it never did. Like if I said right now, prove to me 100% that you never sexted a specific person that you've had on Snapchat at any point, it would be impossible to do. But what I can do is lay out all the inconsistencies, talk about the proven lies, the specifics, point out questions that were never asked, and provide all of the evidence that I have. And I believe that luckily, that's way more than enough. So first, I want to talk about the timeline. Every contact we've ever had with each other before January 17th is the Instagram DMs, which I just read to you, which are now all public in their entirety in the description of this video, other than the messages that she deleted. She claims that sexting started around January 17th and that sexting stopped February 10th.
So from the 17th to maybe February 10th is the time frame where we were sexting.
So even if we say that it started a couple weeks before it stopped, you'd have to believe that every message you've just seen, we went from that to sexting days later in 2022 before my face reveal. Even if you want to give her the maximum benefit of doubt and say that she confused the timeline, she turned 18 on the 17th, 1 week after she claimed the sexting stopped. So there's not much leeway. Secondly, we can talk about her Twitter. She tweeted out defending me from hate on my face reveal 10 days before the allegations and was liking my tweets, including a subscriber milestone tweet 2 days before she tweeted her allegations. With the timing of the face reveal and her allegation, my belief is that there was a lot of hate and that it's easy to get spiteful and join in on a hate train. I had ignored multiple of her Instagram DMs and Snapchat messages in recent months, and I had also made a new Snapchat that I didn't add her on. I still used my old Snapchat occasionally, but I just rarely responded. That's my only real explanation for why she flipped so quickly from being publicly positive to me to lying about me, but I guess I'll never really know. Thirdly, the only photos she showed as proof that I groomed her were both pictures from based on her own evidence after she was 18, meaning even if we give her the benefit of doubt and assume everything she's provided is real and truthful, she was 18 when these messages would have been sent, and I had no context to the fact that she was more than a small streamer. But on top of that, I unblocked her Snapchat, went through our Snapchat chats, and couldn't find either of the messages that she was talking about. I also downloaded all of our Snapchat logs using the Snapchat data tool, which she can do as well, and neither of the compliments that she showed were in the logs. Now, honestly, this is pretty useless information because there's almost no messages in the logs at all, but it's still extremely weird that she was asked for these logs many times. It takes 5 minutes to download, and she never did it. Probably because it doesn't support what she was saying. On top of those things, from everything she had told me, she was 19, and we had no inappropriate contact. The context of these messages would be a 22-year-old creator calling a 19-year-old streamer gorgeous on a birthday post.
Dream would disprove the allegation with lots of information, facts, and inconsistencies in her story. It was obviously false.
Okay, so who is this accusation from? It's from an anonymous burner account made the day of the accusation, which is interesting. So we don't know who they are, but we do know who the victim is. Jamie, right? And how old did they say she was? They said 16/17. Okay. So what else do we know about Jamie? They said she left the internet in 2020. So because they apparently can't, let me tell you who Jamie is. I follow Jamie on Twitter, which people quickly pointed to as proof. As you can see, Jamie is also followed by Skeppy, Verb, and Spifey, other YouTubers from the community. I met Jamie when I wasn't even a YouTuber. I had just posted my first ever YouTube video less than a month before. I had less than 100 followers on Twitter the month that I met her. I made a lot of friends around this time because I wasn't a big creator and I was part of a lot of online communities as a fan. She played on Bad Boy Halo's Minecraft server and was a fan of Skeppy. I was trying to grow and make connections, and I had pretty much just made my Twitter account, so I made a lot of friends. Many people from this time I'm still friends with to this day. People claiming that me following her is proof that I sexed underage fans or groomed her at all is ridiculous. These claims are completely false. They were right about her age. She's 21 now, so she would have been around 17 4 years ago. That's about the only correct thing they said this entire time. Like, remember they said she quit the internet in 2020 as a convenient way to excuse any questions about her? Well, she didn't. She liked a tweet from last month, actively tweeted all of 2022, and she changed her bio and Twitter account name when this happened, just wanting to be left alone? That's interesting. And she actually tweeted saying she only privated her account because some of her IRL friends were finding it and she didn't want them to. I wonder why they lied about that. Maybe because the person who's claiming this doesn't know Jamie, doesn't know anything about Jamie, doesn't know me, doesn't know anything about me, and is being malicious and making up whatever they can to end my career. Let's talk about some other stuff. They also said they posted the videos with permission, which of course makes the videos seem much more real. Well, it's apparently me, and I didn't give them permission, and it's apparently sent to Jamie, and she didn't give them permission. She quit the internet. She couldn't have.
However, the dream moaning allegations appeared. On the surface, a lot more credible. It appeared an old friend of Dream, Jamie, who was an underage girl, had accused him of sending videos of him moaning. The alleged clip of Dream moaning spread across Twitter like wildfire, but was it actually Dream moaning, and did he really send it to an underage girl?
So I reached out to them to try and find anything that I could find to find out what this was even about, because I've never been confronted by one of my friends for grooming, and I've never groomed anybody. So I found out who was anonymous in these messages, and let's hear what they have to say.
These screenshots are extremely out of context and used disingenuously to tell a story about Dream that isn't true at all. I haven't spoken to Dream in a very long time, but to my knowledge, he has not interacted with underage fans inappropriately or in any way that could be considered grooming. These DMs were posted by the burner without my permission and without ever contacting me beforehand. They were sent to the burner by a vulnerable person that was upset and being taken advantage of while under the influence of alcohol. I want to be anonymous and stay completely out of this because all of the terrible stuff I've seen happen to everyone mentioned on both sides is very scary. This conversation was private in my life, and no one deserves to have their personal life dug through because of anonymous people making false claims without knowledge or context about anything they're saying.
This person was not involved at all and did not consent to anything.
The allegation was, to put it bluntly, a straight-up lie. The girl who was allegedly groomed by Dream came out with a statement completely disavowing what she said.
They reported me. They even reached out to the Orange County Police, my local police, to put it in writing, put their name on it, and solidify that their claims are correct.
Thank you for calling the Orange County Sheriff's Office. To continue in English, press 1. To continue in Spanish.
My name is... I have a YouTube channel and I live stream and stuff, and long story short, very recently someone anonymously posted a bunch of like fake stuff online saying that I'm a pedophile, and of course it's from like a burner, like anonymous burner account, can't really, you know, whatever. But anyway, in their post they said that they called and talked to the Orange County Sheriff's Office about it, and of course they said that to try and like make me look guilty for being like a predator somehow. But I guess I wanted to call and try and get more information, I guess.
What's your name? People are there, they're slandering you. There's nothing, and this is we have a very broad database. Nothing, no interaction. I did last name, last name, nothing.
And while there's very little debate about the false nature of Dream's allegations, the same couldn't be said for Dream's former friend, Wilbur Soot. William Gold, or Wilbur Soot as we'll call him from now on, was a popular Minecraft YouTuber, streamer, and musical artist. Throughout his decade-long internet career, Wilbur Soot amassed tens of millions of followers across platforms, made millions of dollars, and played an instrumental role in Minecraft's most popular SMP. But what if I told you this golden legacy was shattered by one single allegation? Now, before discussing this, there's a brief bit of context that needs to be discussed. Wilbur Soot had a female friend who he streamed with named Shelby Grace, or as we'll call her from now on, Shubble. The two were rumored to be dating by fans. However, nothing was confirmed. Well, everything changed on the 22nd of February 2024 when Shubble would make a suspicious and alarming tweet reading talking about something more serious. With a link to her Twitch account, it was obvious bombshell accusations were soon to drop. The foreshadowing did not downplay the severity of the soon-to-be public allegations, and when Shelby began streaming, the vibe turned from mysterious to serious, with Shelby beginning to lay out what would turn out to be perhaps one of the most vicious YouTuber exposés in the whole of 2024.
And tried different forms of therapy. I tried somatic therapy. That one was actually really good for me. Because that one actually helped me release a lot of built up anger I was having over the last year. But the anger that I was feeling was for myself, because I felt like I should have known better. I felt so stupid at myself for sort of just staying through all of this.
Shubble would detail that she had controlling, manipulative, and genuinely unpleasant past experiences within her dating life, setting the scene for the bombshell career and life-ruining allegations she would soon drop on a popular but unnamed Minecraft content creator.
And I was so mad at myself because I was lying too, at a certain point to protect this person, because I knew that if I told my friends the truth, it'd make them look really bad. I didn't think that I would cry. And I practiced saying all of this and I didn't cry, but it's easier to practice it when no one is listening. But he always cared more about how it looked, and that was really important, not what was true.
However, as she would go on to explain, the relationship she had just left was more than a bad experience. According to Shelby, it was distressing, scary, and even dangerous.
I mean, I think that might have been true maybe at the start, but I also feel that I have good reason to believe that every part of it was a lie, but that's just my personal opinion. And I had no problem with just biting. That isn't even the most uncommon thing. But he did mention something early that I should have taken as a red flag. And he wanted to make sure that I was okay with him biting me because he didn't want me to come back later and say that he abused me, which I thought was really weird considering he had never hurt me before.
And it didn't stop there, as Shelby would go on to explain how she endured physical violence in her last relationship.
I was lying. I was lying, and it wasn't fine because I would go home later and I'd tell him how uncomfortable I was, how much I didn't like being hurt all the time. And I needed him to really stop biting so hard. I didn't like it, and I tried telling him over and over again because he wasn't actually trying at all to not hurt me.
Shelby would detail how the violence didn't appear to be malicious from the start, and that because her aggressor wasn't hitting her, she didn't intentionally see the abuse. But as the allegations went on, it became even more clear how horrifying, if true, these actions were.
But he said he would try at first, and then he started saying things like it was my pain tolerance that was too low, or I'm exaggerating how much it actually hurts. He's not even biting that hard. I'm being dramatic.
Her ex-partner had a habit of affectionately biting her that was even supposedly corroborated by his own mother as a lifelong personal habit since childhood. However, as Shelby would soon detail, these actions wouldn't stay cute for long.
But his biting escalated to a point where I was covered in bruises all over my arms, and they hurt, and he would poke at them for fun. And he even felt so comfortable showing off my bruises that he had caused to our friends because he would bite me so hard by accident. By accident, he would even joke that it looked like he abused me.
Early in the relationship, red flags appeared to raise. Her partner was asking if she was okay with being hurt by being bit, specifically asking her not to call it abusive if the relationship went haywire. And as it turns out, according to Shelby's story, things got far worse.
And eventually he did acknowledge how bad it looked that I was covered in bruises all the time. So he stopped biting my arms as often, and he started biting my legs instead. And it was in the last couple of months of the relationship that every time he bit me, it was until I needed to use this safe word. It had become his benchmark for when to stop. Only once I was definitely hurt.
Shortly after asking for Shelby's consent to bite her, the ex-partner would begin to test the limits. Things seemed fine initially, but this was when the alleged partner began weaponizing her limits for what appeared to be the purpose of his own gratification.
Which meant I was being hurt every single day, multiple times a day, for all of the days that we spent together in person. And when I asked him to stop again, this time he said, "This is who he is. He isn't going to change."
Instances of him biting too hard and hurting her increased. The relationship was quickly escalating from harmless, cutesy, and wholesome to straight up violent, disturbing, and scary. And as Shelby would go on to discuss, things would not get any better.
And I remember a lot of specifically his words about certain things, especially at the end, because I'm good at remembering words. And And especially his wording, I became really good at remembering because he was constantly contradicting himself, and I would notice, but most of the time it wasn't worth picking a fight over.
Shubble would go into detail that the biting had gotten to the point of a safe word being created so he could determine her limits, only as she would discuss, the alleged perpetrator didn't seem to understand or care.
But he would fight me on it sometimes because I would point it out, and he would insist that he had never said the thing that he said. He definitely did say. And then he would say something like, "How are you so sure you're remembering correctly? Why are you always right?" And he definitely said the things that I heard him say and other people heard him say. So he had now at this point weaponized the safe word and was using it to ensure that I was hurt.
It had gotten to the point where she was incredibly uncomfortable with his actions, but pretending to friends that everything was okay, whilst telling him behind the scenes how distressed his alleged actions made her feel, only for the abusive actions to be portrayed as a quote, quirky part of their relationship.
I couldn't even tell you the last time he had apologized for doing it anymore, because now sometimes he would bite me and I would yell out the safe word because it hurt so bad, and he'd clamp down even harder, and just for a second, just for good measure, before letting go. And sometimes I'd say the safe word and he'd grind his teeth down on my skin. And sometimes he'd smile after. Like a gloating grin. And during this time, I was filled with so much anxiety all the time that I was constantly nauseous, gagging daily, on occasion throwing up because of the pit that was in my stomach. I never told him about that, though. I was going and running away quietly to throw up in the toilet and rejoin our group of friends.
However, bad it seemed, things would end up getting much worse, as Shelby would allege the worst of the perpetrator's actions to be weaponizing the safe word and pushing her limits, even to the point of using it to ensure she was genuinely in pain from his biting.
And then we started a friendship. And then that friendship turned romantic. And then he made these huge romantic gestures. He wrote me the most beautiful love letter that I had ever read. He called me his soulmate. He talked about forever 1 month in. He told me he hadn't been in a relationship in 5 years. He thought he could never find love again before he met me. He said he wanted someone to grow with. He wanted to be a dad. He had all his names picked out. And I didn't have a preference because my feeling of it is if the timing is right and with the right person, I could.
From detailing how she felt unwanted, used, and neglected from the relationship.
Now all of a sudden he's telling me he's not sure he wants kids at all. In fact, he has never been attached to the idea of kids. And I told him that isn't what he said before. And he said he's allowed to change his mind. And I'm of the opinion that in a relationship, there are a few things that you are not actually allowed to change your mind without letting your partner know.
To allegedly throwing away hundreds of dollars of items from her office.
And I can look back now and I can see all these instances that were really major red flags. There was this one time that he pinned me down and asked me to try my absolute hardest to get him off of me. And I couldn't do it, obviously. And he said something to make the point that he was so much stronger than me that I wouldn't be able to fight him back. Fight back against what? What do you mean? You don't say shit like that to people? That's insane. And I was also sexually assaulted by my first boyfriend, and he knew that.
To even detailing how the unnamed popular YouTuber lived a disgusting and vomit-inducing filthy lifestyle.
And then I found out that he said he doesn't clean at all when I'm not there because he just waits for me to get there to do it. And I only found out about that after we broke up because he said it behind my back.
Shelby's response, although not naming Wilbur, detailed 3 main characteristics that made people begin to draw the links. First, that the alleged ex-partner was a tall British man, and second, that he was a popular YouTuber, and the third, that he had a thing for biting.
But a lot of people right now are speculating it to be Wilbur. Now look, although I do agree a lot of the stuff presented can paint us a clear picture of who, again, Shelby hasn't mentioned who specifically. So it doesn't matter how many times you can point the finger at Wilbur, we won't know for sure until Shelby comes out with more information. Not to mention that a lot of the evidence presented thus far, such as the connection with ants in the abuser's home and Wilbur also having an ant problem in his home, or how her abuser used to bite her and how Wilbur bites to show affection, isn't exactly the most concrete of ties.
The evidence didn't form a clear conclusion, however, soon enough, Wilbur would release a response which read, "In the past week, a series of allegations have been made over my conduct from an ex-girlfriend. I want to emphasize that, although I feel it's fair to offer my perspective, this person's feelings are completely valid. I've taken my time sharing this statement as I wanted to process and respond respectfully, and with the hope to gain a deeper understanding of the situation. During our relationship's final months, I regrettably became slobbish, disrespectful, and selfish. These actions caused a lot of pain to my ex-girlfriend, and I've since sought therapy to address these behaviors, making significant lifestyle changes to rectify my past actions. I've come to realize how much my past behavior hurt this person, but I truly, compassionately believe I have made great strides from the person I once was, and hope I can continue to grow and improve on this trajectory," followed by a denial of the abuse claims. The allegation of abuse, particularly in the form of biting, deeply shocked me. Throughout our relationship, I understood from our numerous conversations and text message exchanges on the subject that this behavior was consensual, playful, and reciprocally enjoyed. I truly believe those personal message exchanges reflect mutual affection and understanding. Out of respect for her, I choose not to publish them, and I emphasize my perspective is not shared to diminish or invalidate anyone's feelings. Instead, I share it in hope that I can offer a genuine, fair, and relevant insight into my understanding of the situation. While I may perceive our interactions differently, I recognize that this person has processed and expressed feelings of hurt. I want to extend my sincerest apologies for any pain that I caused. I am fully committed to understanding and addressing her concerns going forward. I hope my perspective sheds light on this situation without detracting from its message. I am dedicated to earning and maintaining the trust of those around me, and I hope I continue to be held to these high standards I wish to attain and maintain. Wilbur's response was received extremely negatively, with members of the Dream SMP like Tubbo responding angrily.
I was informed about this like a few minutes before going live, so forgive me if I don't have my thoughts 100% clear in my head, but I read through it and like, bro, I made me so angry. I actually couldn't fucking believe it. Like, I'm like, holy shit. Like, no, all I'm saying is like, look, you might think I have a very biased perspective when it comes to this kind of stuff. No, but like, truth be told, the amount of times I've spoken to Wilbur in private could be counted on maybe 2 hands. And yeah, I'm not biased in this. I think that response was fucking vile. I'm like, how the hell can you make, like, how the hell can like this be about you, bro? Like, I literally don't want to say. I want to make something very clear. There is this is, if anyone in this channel, if any chatter in this stream or any person in this like community ever thinks about defending domestic abuse or anything like that, or anything in that vein, or anything that fucking serious, all right, you have no place here. And I want you to unfollow and I want you to leave.
Along with Dream's clearly self-serving essay in response to Wilbur, she said she withdrew consent using a safe word, and that you frequently would intentionally bite down harder afterward, to the point that she would scream, even isolated from everything else. That is clearly abuse. While reading this, I was waiting to see you talk about that issue, to say anything at all, only to finish reading and find out that you didn't acknowledge it once. I really don't understand how you thought this was accountability, or an apology, or even an informative statement. This did serve as confirmation she was talking about you, which I'm glad to have. Wilbur, you take accountability for being slobbish, disrespectful, and selfish, and it seems those are the things you acknowledge as past problems, while overshadowing the physically abusive actions and claiming to be completely reformed now. You seem to truly think you did nothing abusive, and this statement is built on that foundation. You are being dishonest with yourself, or dishonest with us, or both. You describe these acts as consensual without refuting her complete revocation of consent through your agreed upon safe word, a word set with the purpose of explicitly ending consent. She trusted you with this safe word as a boundary, and you shattered that trust. Therapy won't help if you seriously describe your abusive actions as playful, affectionate, and especially consensual. Your therapist can't read into your mind and know you're being dishonest. Shelby was afraid to even say your name due to your dedicated audience, and this wasn't acknowledged either. As someone who at times shares an audience with you, this is severely disappointing. She had a reason to be afraid to say your name, but you shouldn't have been afraid to say hers. Shelby, I'm sorry you had to go through this. I'm sorry that you felt scared about public support, and I hope this gives you some hope that the world overall is full of good people. I'm sorry that you will forever be affected by this. As a victim of domestic violence, I was scared to ever speak out, in fear of not being taken seriously or believed. It's incredibly encouraging to see many people express support and uplift your story and your message, and I believe this can help prevent many future situations like yours. I'm sorry if any events involving me or my audience in the past contributed at all to your anxiousness about coming forward in this community, and I hope this serves as a reminder to everybody that at the end of the day, the community and creators are united when it comes to the most important things: the truth, what's right and wrong, speaking for those who can't, uplifting the voices of those that might otherwise go unheard, standing up for what's right, and speaking against those that do wrong. Your story you told will help so many young people see signs of toxicity and abuse before it's too late for them. Thank you for being brave. Which wasn't even the worst part, as Shubble would soon release a second response, one that made Wilbur look even worse. I've thought a lot about what I would say when I come back. Firstly, I want to say the biggest thank you to everyone showing their support. I've never felt so loved and cared for, and I've never seen so many communities come together to have somebody's back like this. I'm so proud of everyone taking such a powerful stance against these actions. I never could have imagined this response. While I didn't do this for myself, through sharing my story, I have healed more parts of myself I had no idea were still pained. I'd like to address the apology. Quite frankly, I've never seen an apology so self-centered. It seems to purposely misconstrue the issue I very clearly laid out. My issue was not with being bit, it was with being hurt. And to vaguely apologize for any hurt while knowing we needed a safe word because I was being hurt so often by accident and I continued to be hurt daily is incredibly disrespectful, but not more disrespectful than not even saying my name. I believe I am referred to as ex-girlfriend, so if you don't know who he is talking about, you might not find out what he did. This is not how you take accountability. Not only are there no DMs whatsoever where it is expressed that I enjoy being hurt by my partner, to imply that there was consent in text over an issue that entirely happened in person, where every conversation about it happened in person, is ridiculous. He knows how often I asked for him to stop hurting me, that I didn't like it, and that I didn't like being covered in bruises all the time, entirely why he switched to biting my legs, so no one would think I look abused, but he continued to hurt me. He either didn't take my pleas for it to stop seriously, or didn't hear them at all. I felt lost for so long, truly losing myself in this relationship. I abandoned my personal morals, neglected friends, and lied for this person. With every time I spoke up being ignored, I shrank. I lost my fight. I stayed locked in a house I had no key for, and didn't even try to leave anymore. People ask why we stay, and it's so hard to explain ourselves because we've abandoned all our reasoning. I wasn't safe anymore with this person, but I couldn't see that. I loved him, and he told me he tried to stop hurting me. I'm deeply saddened by how many more friends were hurt by his actions, but I'm so thankful to everyone doing the absolute most in making sure I've been okay over the last few days. Thank you to everyone who's reached out to me. Thank you #Shubble Support Squad. Every day I read your messages and see your art, and it makes me feel truly like the bravest girl in the world. I think the good that comes out of victims sharing their experiences is so others can learn and avoid similar pain, or come to terms with ways they were mistreated, is the most important thing in this moment. You cannot treat people this way without consequence. You cannot pretend you don't know the harm you cause. You cannot pretend going to therapy fixes all past mistakes. All of the love that's been shared for me over the past few days is for every victim of abuse. Our lives are forever changed by these experiences. I now struggle with memory problems and extreme anxiety, and it may be a while before I feel fully like myself, whoever she is. But I know I have my spark back. Please remember how brave and how strong you are. We shouldn't be expected to be silent when we are mistreated. But just when things seemed completely ruined for Wilbur, a set of equally and arguably far more serious accusations surfaced from a different ex-partner, which began with her giving background on her and Wilbur's relationship. Hello, I'm Alice. I dated Wilbur back in 2019 and I want to speak out about my experience. I felt like I couldn't talk about this sooner because I was scared of his public influence and the potential backlash from fans, but now, after hearing Shelby's story, seeing the support she's been shown, and admiring her bravery, I finally feel safe to break my silence on our relationship. Back in 2019, at the beginning of the relationship, I was immediately shown a lot of affection, very reminiscent of love bombing. One of his close friends at the time warned me in confidence to be careful, as if they had seen people get hurt in the past, but I believed he was good inside. But after a month, the honeymoon period was over, and it was like I was dating a completely different person. I was told to keep our relationship a secret, but was framed in a way that implied that it was for my safety, as if it was in my best interest to keep this a secret despite my own feelings. I believed that he enjoyed having control in the relationship. Then the events that led to their eventual breakup. I would have to hide as he streamed and sit silently in a corner of his room waiting for him to go offline. He would say condescending things to me about my interests and the type of content I created, as if he just didn't take it, or me, seriously, and would only be enthusiastic about his future plans with music and desire for fame. I never felt like he was encouraging towards me or any of my goals, and in the last few months, he made me feel extremely unlovable and unwanted. I had suffered with self-harm tendencies in 2019. He ignored the marks on my body and only took interest in retelling his own life struggles. I also experienced the biting habit, which has already been elaborated on by Shelby. After a while, I noticed that it was always me putting the effort into the relationship, so I decided one day to not be the one to message first, just to see what would happen, and he never spoke to me again, so the relationship dissolved, before detailing a harrowing if true series of events leading to SA allegedly perpetuated by Wilbur Soot. Skipping ahead to 2021, we had spoken briefly over an Instagram DM about the relationship and meeting up for closure on how things went in 2019. I gave him a second chance and met up, hoping to get some answers. We walked through densely populated areas of town where we would get stopped multiple times by his fans. In hindsight, this felt very intentional, almost as if it was to flaunt his influence and desirability to me. We went to a bar to talk, and then he proceeded to get me very drunk. He got us an Uber back to his house. I ended up blacking out on the bed due to the alcohol, but the last thing I remember was him non-consensually removing my clothes. The next morning, he proceeded to tell me that I must have been lesbian because I wasn't interested in him. Wilbur Soot's allegations were awful, and his response was no better. He may be innocent, or he may be guilty. The fact of the matter is, nobody has any conclusive evidence concluding that this is a he said she said situation. But at the end of the day, I think we can all conclude that Wilbur Soot is definitely not a good person. But there is one question that remains. What is the cause of the Minecraft allegation epidemic? Of the many stories we covered in this video, there was one common denominator. They were all allegations, while some were undeniably true, as shown by cases of Linemaker, illuminahd, and skydoesminecraft. Other cases like that, including georgenotfound, Dream, and Tubbo, were completely false. Based upon how vastly different each allegation is, the answer to the question has multiple answers. On one hand, there is a clear problem with false allegations and people believing them. The mob mentality of the Dream SMP audience is an obvious problem, with statements like "believe all victims," with a silent implication of "regardless of evidence," becoming the norm in this community. People have forgotten that the burden of proof is imperative. Cases like Wilbur Soot and many more, which would normally have been seen as a he said she said, are now being processed under the light of guilty until proven innocent. However, with the amount of awful true allegations, the Minecraft YouTube stereotypes of being creepy child predators and abusers does hold some merit. At the end of the day, some accusations end up proving to be true, others are just that, allegations. But as always, if you're new to the channel and you enjoy content like this, please make sure to subscribe, and if you want to watch something similar to this, click the video on screen now.